Welcome to the channel. I've waited to make this video for too long, but I've got a case of
neosis.
So it balances out. My name is Josh, and my videos are about cars and movies, and this series is all about discovering whether the new OEM reveals are worthy of any on-screen appearances. In these car reviews, I ask a derivative of the example question, is the Toyota Coaster the right vehicle for Milton?
Who's Milton?
What?
I don't remember any Milton.
In the example of all these screen-worthy reviews, the question is more, would the main or supporting characters in a movie realistically be driving this? As I make my Picture Cars videos, I've been looking at my own cars and asking similar questions. If I were the main character in a movie, would I be driving a Ford Probe, a Ford Bronco, or maybe something new? I'm not going to answer that question in this video, but let's talk about Subaru's first fully electric vehicle. With the release of a shared platform vehicle, we need to bring in how both vehicles are being sold. With the Toyota bZ4X, their biggest marketing angle was to deliver the most human-centered vehicle. With the Solterra being almost exactly the same, save for slight exterior styling changes in the grille and drive unit options, that marketing campaign is a little suspect.
The whole thing is highly suspect.
So how is Subaru framing the Solterra as a product? By connecting you with others, your car, society, and the environment, Toyota is hoping their BEV platform will attract a new host of Toyota customers. Branded as the Beyond Zero platform, but really the ETNGA platform for the electrified version of the already existing Toyota New Global Architecture, we can do some comparisons because there seems to be a shared format between the marketing teams for both Toyota and Subaru. As a footnote, Subaru is labeling the platform as the new eSubaru Global Architecture platform.
Different, but not really.
Instead of 4 pillars, Subaru has developed and is selling the Solterra under the influence of 3 initiatives. The first, resilience and sustainability, empowering customers to share Subaru's purpose of being stewards of the environment. The second, outdoor exploration, a natural fit for the Subaru owner. And the third, parks of the future. Subaru wants to develop a vehicle that, instead of polluting the environment, would both save parks for future generations and fund future parks. The difference between the marketing approaches of the Toyota bZ4X and the Subaru Solterra can be summed up by inward or outward expression. Toyota is presenting their electric vehicle as an extension for the driver. Subaru is presenting their electric vehicle as an extension for the earth. The concept of Toyota's first human-centered vehicle is obtuse in comparison to Subaru building off a tenure of exploration and adventure. Subaru can get away with marketing their first electric Subaru because all that has really kept them from developing an electric vehicle is revenue. Toyota has had that revenue and spent it on low-return projects like the Woven City and the Mirai. Subaru's mission has always been about the earth, even if they were making polluting vehicles simultaneously. Now, with their eSubaru Global Architecture, they can plunge into a more holistic harmony with the environment. Despite this exciting new entry, Subaru has a hard few years ahead of them. They did take too long in developing an electric vehicle, better aligning themselves with their mission. But when you compare the revenues of electric vehicle developers from traditional internal combustion engine manufacturers, they are at the low end of the group. I included as many of the big guys as I could think of and some low ends as well. This is all 2019 net revenue, and obviously OEMs can choose to spend that how they wish and shouldn't be a blanket indicator of fiscal performance. But when at this low end, many other manufacturers are converting existing vehicles to electric. We've seen this with Volvo and Mazda. They just don't have the capital to invest in fully new electric platforms. But aside from this, their outward appearance is a little skewed when looking at their environmental stewardship. The obvious comparison with Subaru is now Rivian, having just begun distributing their electric adventure truck in the last few months. Rivian is on the mission of keeping the world adventurous forever. Subaru had that mission long before Rivian developed and trashed its first prototype, but Subaru's product line skewed in favor of pollutants. Even after the Solterra's release, it's pretty difficult to filter down to Subaru's electrified product line through their website, which is odd considering the Subaru Crosstrek, including all the various trims and powertrain options, was the 3rd highest seller for Subaru USA in the past 2 years. And so yes, there are some hybrids out there, but in contrast with Toyota, Subaru has never had to hide a distaste for electric vehicles. Toyota, on the other hand, has had its hybrid tenure much longer than anyone else in the reliable market. Despite their lineup of hybrids, they've obstructed climate change policy to stall electric vehicle adoption at a global governmental level. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing effect. Toyota can parade their bZ4X as the most technologically advanced electrified vehicle in their lineup all they want. But to me, it's too little too late. At the same time, Subaru is finally building out a portfolio of vehicles that better align with an adventurous future. Subaru's expression of sustainability extends beyond the products they sell, though. Their highest output plant in Lafayette, Indiana is ahead of the electric offering OEMs as a zero landfill plant. Many are pushing into renewable territory and should be commended for those giant leaps. So while the Subaru of Indiana automotive plant is not exactly renewable, it's a good step. Their care for the environment is apparent through their love of adventurous vehicles, though their route there needed help from Rivian's presence in order to fully understand the market's desire to adventure, but at a greater standard of climate safety. As a quick edit before I wrap up the script, Toyota just put together Team Japan, hell-bent on keeping the internal combustion engine alive. This team includes Subaru, Mazda, Kawasaki, and Yamaha. Thinking back on that overall revenue and the disparity between Toyota and its Team Japan peers, I'm just visualizing Kingpin with all of his henchmen. What are those henchmen doing there when Kingpin can solo many of his opposition? They know Daredevil will win in the end, so why fight it? Subaru offers more information in regards to the new vehicle technology offered by the shared platform. X-Mode and important off-road specs offer a relevant comparison to other electric vehicles, if shying away from the comparison against others in the Subaru lineup. Of course, the Solterra won't be the highest performer in the portfolio, but it will have higher ground clearance than the Model Y and Mustang Mach-E at 8.3 inches, higher standard torque than the ID4 and CX-30 EV at about 248 pound-feet of torque, more cargo space than the Kia Niro EV at 30 cubic feet. Combined, there's still a lot of room for Subaru to grow, but I think it's intelligent, if slightly deceptive, to compare the Solterra to other EV offerings. Besides all those arbitrary competitive figures, Subaru is bringing in their X-Mode technology. A staple for Subaru's lineup and deviating from Toyota's bZ4X marketing, Subaru is only offering their all-wheel drive platform variant. X-Mode is their ability to provide specific drive values to each wheel so that the tires can provide greater variable traction when getting into slippery expeditions. Other technology options like EyeSight driver assist technology provide safer marketing content by running as far away as possible from saying, "We put this on the vehicle so that we can eventually perform fully autonomous driving." It's refreshing, especially as Subaru continues to build a portfolio of vehicles that enable the driver to be a part of the off-road experience. Instead, EyeSight Assist provides a peace of mind. The sensor detects obstacles and lanes, how they're moving or not moving in relation to the vehicle, and provides standard automated braking at full force in emergency situations, as well as lane keep assist, nudging the vehicle to the center of the road when deviating dangerously. As far as specs, many of them have been covered more extensively in my review of the bZ4X, but we've got to go over some of the changes. With a water-cooled lithium-ion battery, the Solterra has a capacity of 71.4 kilowatt hours. Considering weight, an all-wheel drive unit estimates for range hover at the 220-mile mark, depending on the Japanese or European standards. With the EPA, I wouldn't be surprised if that number falls a bit. This is comparable battery capacity and range to the Tesla Model 3. The all-wheel drive configuration houses two 80-kilowatt electric motors at the front and rear axle, allowing a final output power of 160 kilowatts or 214.5 horsepower. In addition, there's 336 newton meters or 248 pound-feet of standard torque. With this configuration, the Solterra sprints faster than the front-wheel drive bZ4X with a 0 to 60 time of 7.7 seconds, but at a limited top speed of 160 kilometers per hour or 99 miles per hour. My biggest complaint with the bZ4X was the segment it was introduced into. The RAV4 isn't just Toyota's top seller across its lineup. The RAV4 has the highest North American sales volume, coming fourth behind the Big Three's trucks. With those numbers being skewed through the inclusion of fleet vehicles as well, it's safe to say that the RAV4 is the most popular passenger vehicle. So why would Toyota introduce a vehicle they didn't want to make into a segment they're already dominating in? Seemingly because they want this project to be hidden in the recesses of history as quickly as possible. Subaru's leading seller is the Forester, after years of Outback dominance, so it's a parallel world where both Toyota and Subaru are introducing their first experimental EV in the most popular segment. And honestly, it might just be ignorance on my part. Maybe it's a good idea to decrease the market share by introducing a competing vehicle. However, where Subaru could succeed in Toyota's failure
No, you don't. We're not supposed to reveal the future.
is in its styling. While Toyota is marketing the hammerhead appearance of the bZ4X as a distinct new design language, here's maybe a better way to put it. Each of Toyota's vehicles is wholly unique in their design language. The only model consistency is when you're talking about the sedans. I also see a lot of the Camry's overly large grille in the Sienna, but aside from that, the only consistency among Toyota's lineup is that each is so different from the next. So when everything is different, you suffer from syndrome.
And when everyone's super,
No one will be.
When everything is different, it's not really exciting to have another different car. Subaru, however, has a lexicon of styling features. All Subaru grills, aside from the BRZ and Ascent, have the same honeycomb grille, with top trapezoid and bottom trapezoid ratio somewhere in the 30 to 70 range. That top to bottom ratio transfers to the Ascent too, even if it doesn't maintain the honeycomb grille. In other words, you can basically tell that you're looking at a Subaru through the shape of its front angle. With their combined focus on keeping families safe and adventurous, Subaru has been thoughtfully crafting its marketing image into one centered around families.
Love. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
This tagline isn't that far from the truth. There is a lot of care and attention put into their vehicles from the design and through to the production and sale. With the Solterra, we come to a new junction with a new tagline.
Love is now electric.
And between the off-road capability, safety suite, sustainability, and technology, what's not to love about the Subaru Solterra? Shut up about the fenders. They're not killing the brand. Sales numbers are still up, with 96% of vehicles still on the road. They're not selling these newer vehicles to the majority of Subaru owners anyway. They're designing them to attract new buyers and selling them to the trendsetters of the future. You can keep your 1999 Subaru Legacy Outback, and that will do Subaru just fine. The newly released Subaru Outback Wilderness is even carrying many of the design angles of the Solterra's fender, and it's not doing any more poorly for it. You may hate the design, but hating how something looks isn't a valid criticism against a vehicle with no previous design history. Hating how something looks, in my point of view, only applies during model redesigns like, the WRX. The question that arises with the release of the Solterra and the BZ4X is, will Toyota be able to sell more BZ4Xs with the performance of a Subaru, or will Subaru be able to sell more Solterras with the reliability of a Toyota? This type of video makes more sense when thinking about the supplemental questions of redundancy. The Solterra, Forester, BZ4X, and RAV4 share a fairly close to concentric Venn diagram. So is it really worthy of any supposed differentiation? What makes the Solterra so special that I'll one day see it as a chase vehicle? I've answered a hard no to the question, is the Toyota BZ4X screen-worthy? It's a matter of market, segment, and manufacturer saturation in my point of view. But with the Solterra, it's allowed to breathe and stand special against Subaru's portfolio. I don't think it's quite worthy of on-screen attention, but I wouldn't turn up my nose at seeing the Solterra in a theater either. I really appreciate you guys watching this far. I enjoy building my cars, but I can't financially sustain making car build videos every week. So I make the picture cars videos. And I love making those videos, but I don't think it connects with my audience unless I also make these videos. I started making picture cars videos and asking the question, does this car make sense for its character? But in doing so, I myself started realizing it doesn't make a ton of sense for me to drive a Chevrolet Equinox. So I sold it, and now I'm on a mini quest, a side quest, to discover a vehicle that is just right for my character. Thanks again, and I'll see you all in the next one.